Welcome to our deep dive into some incredible diabetes success stories.
Yeah. We're going to explore how real people have not only managed their type 2 diabetes, but they actually thrive.
It's easy to get kind of caught up in the challenges of managing this condition, but today we're focusing on the positive. We've got three unique journeys to unpack, Sarah's, John's, and Maria's, each one highlighting different approaches and takeaways.
And what's fascinating is that they all achieve success through these manageable adjustments and lifestyle changes, really demonstrating that those small steps can lead to some pretty big changes.
Okay, so let's start with Sarah. She was diagnosed at 45 and, like many in her situation, initially felt overwhelmed, struggling to control her blood sugar.
It's a common reaction. Being told you have type 2 diabetes can feel like this just huge life shift. For Sarah, the turning point came when she started experiencing early symptoms of neuropathy. And that's nerve damage, which can be a complication of diabetes. It was like a wake-up call that really spurred her to take action.
Yeah, that's a powerful motivator. So what did she actually do to turn things around? It sounds like she went all in on a whole food, plant-based diet.
She did. And this is key for a couple of reasons. Plant-based foods are naturally lower on the glycemic index, which means they don't spike blood sugar as much as processed foods or those sugary drinks. Plus, the fiber in these foods helps with better glucose control. It's not about deprivation. It's about making those smart swaps that nourish your body.
And it's interesting because those dietary changes are beneficial for anyone, whether they have diabetes or not.
Yeah.
So it seems like taking care of your diabetes often means adopting habits that just lead to better overall health.
Exactly. It's a win-win. And Sarah didn't stop there. She also made exercise a non-negotiable part of her routine. Nothing extreme, mind you. She started with just 15-minute walks and gradually worked up to 45 minutes, 5 days a week.
That's a great reminder that we don't need to, jump into some crazy boot camp to see results. Small, consistent steps are key.
Absolutely. And Sarah also found that a positive mindset was crucial for her. She used journaling and positive affirmations to stay committed to her goals. I think that's often overlooked, but it's so important to have that mental and emotional support when making those big lifestyle changes.
Yeah, for sure. So did all of these changes make a difference? What were Sarah's results after a year of this new lifestyle?
Well, her A1C, and that's the average blood sugar level over the past few months, dropped from 8.5% to 5.7%, which is a key indicator for diabetes management. Even more impressively, she was able to stop taking medication altogether. It's a testament to the fact that with the right strategies and commitment, it's possible to regain control of your health.
That's incredible. It really makes you realize that even when things seem tough, there's always hope and potential for that positive change.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears and hear about John, a 60-year-old truck driver. His story really highlights how different our circumstances can be and how those circumstances can impact how we manage diabetes.
So, being a truck driver, you're on the road a lot, which means a sedentary lifestyle and probably a lot of fast food, right? It seems like that would make managing diabetes extra challenging.
Yeah, you're right. Those were some of the biggest hurdles that John faced. But his turning point came when he discovered the power of community. He found an online diabetes support group where he could connect with others who understood his struggles.
I've heard from so many people about how valuable those online communities can be. Just knowing you're not alone can make a huge difference.
It really can. And for John, the group provided more than just emotional support. He learned these practical tips from other members, like the importance of meal planning. He started prepping his meals in advance and making sure that his truck was always stocked with healthy snacks like nuts and fresh fruit to combat that temptation of fast food.
That's such a smart strategy, especially when you're on the road and your options are limited.
It's all about being prepared. And because exercise can be tough when you're driving long hours, John had to get creative. He started using resistance bands during his breaks and made it a point to walk laps around parking lots whenever he stopped. Even if it was just for 10-15 minutes, it all added up.
I love that he found ways to incorporate movement into his day despite the demands of his job.
Yeah.
Did anything else stand out to you in John's approach?
He embraced technology in a big way. He started using a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, to get real-time insights into his blood sugar levels.
Yeah, those CGMs are becoming increasingly popular. It's amazing how technology can empower people with diabetes to take control of their health. You're not just guessing anymore. You have that real-time data to help you make informed decisions.
Precisely. And for John, that data was a game changer. By making these adjustments and consistently tracking his blood sugar, he managed to lower his A1C by 2%, and he reported feeling much more energetic overall.
That's fantastic. It's a great reminder that even with a challenging lifestyle, taking those small, consistent steps can lead to significant improvements in managing diabetes. John's story really showcases how support and creative thinking can go a long way.
Absolutely. Now, ready to meet our third diabetes champion. Her name is Maria, and she's a 38-year-old single mom. Her story is all about empowerment and finding ways to prioritize your health even when life feels chaotic.
It's so easy to put our own needs on the back burner when we're juggling work, family, and everything else life throws at us. I'm curious, what were some of the initial challenges Maria faced after her diagnosis?
Like many, she felt overwhelmed, a bit defeated. She was worried about how she was going to balance her own health needs with the demands of caring for her two young children. It's a common concern for parents managing a chronic condition.
Yeah, I can imagine. It feels like a double burden. So how did Maria find the strength to turn things around?
Well, for her, the turning point came when she joined a local diabetes support group. It was there that she found a sense of community and those practical tips that she could actually implement in her busy life.
It seems like these support systems play a crucial role in so many of these success stories. What were some of the specific strategies that Maria learned from the group?
One of the most impactful things she did was involve her kids in her health journey. They started preparing meals together, and Maria found creative ways to turn exercise into family fun. It wasn't just about her own health anymore, it became a shared experience.
That's such a smart approach. It not only helps her manage her diabetes,
Yeah.
but also sets a great example for her children about healthy living. It's a win-win for everyone.
Exactly. And she didn't try to go it alone. She worked with a registered dietitian to create a personalized meal plan that fit her budget and her busy schedule.
Yeah, having that expert guidance can be so valuable, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start.
It takes the guesswork out of things, and it highlights the importance of seeking support and utilizing those resources that are available to you.
For sure. So, besides the diet and family involvement, did Maria incorporate anything else into her routine that made a difference?
She discovered yoga. It became her go-to for managing stress and keeping her blood sugar in check.
That's fascinating. It seems like she found this incredible synergy between taking care of her mental and physical health.
Exactly. And the results speak for themselves. Not only did Maria's health improve dramatically, but she also became an advocate, inspiring others in her community to take control of their health. She turned her challenge into an opportunity to empower others.
What a phenomenal story. It really highlights how a diabetes diagnosis, while initially challenging, can be a catalyst for personal growth and positive change. I think Maria's journey is a perfect way to wrap up part one of our deep dive. It shows that even amidst the chaos of everyday life, it's possible to find that empowerment and prioritize your well-being.
Absolutely. And as we move into part two, keep Maria's story in mind. Think about those small steps that you can take, the support systems that you can lean on, and the ways that you can turn your challenges into those opportunities for growth.
We'll be back with more inspiring stories and actionable advice, so stay tuned. Welcome back. We're diving into more inspiring stories of people taking charge of their diabetes and living life to the fullest.
In part one, we saw the power of small steps, supportive communities, and consistent effort. Now let's hear from a few more individuals who've found these unique paths to success.
I'm excited to hear what they've discovered. In the first part, we heard about some pretty big lifestyle overhauls. Is that always necessary for success?
Not necessarily. In fact, our next story features David, who proves that even those with a long history of diabetes can make remarkable progress with targeted changes. David had been living with type 2 diabetes for over 20 years and had tried various medications and treatments with, limited success. His turning point came when he discovered the power of mindful eating.
Mindful eating. I've heard that term, but I'm not quite sure I understand how it works. How did that help him manage his diabetes?
Well, it's about being fully present when you eat, paying attention to your food, savoring each bite, and recognizing your hunger and fullness cues. It's a way to reconnect with the experience of eating and break free from that mindless snacking or emotional eating, which can really wreak havoc on blood sugar levels.
That makes a lot of sense. It's so easy to just go through the motions of eating without really thinking about it. So besides mindful eating, what else did David incorporate into his routine?
He found that regular low-impact exercise, like swimming and cycling, was incredibly beneficial for both his physical and mental well-being.
I can see how those activities would be great for managing stress, which, we know can impact blood sugar levels. So did he experience any noticeable results after making these changes?
Well, within a few months of practicing mindful eating and exercising regularly, David experienced significant improvements in his blood sugar control. He was even able to reduce his medication dosage,
Wow, that's a pretty powerful testament to the idea that simple lifestyle changes can have a profound impact on health. His story is a reminder that it's never too late to start prioritizing your well-being, no matter how long you've been living with diabetes.
Absolutely. Now let's hear about Lisa. She's a fantastic example of how technology can play a pivotal role in diabetes management. Lisa, like John from our previous stories, embraced the power of a continuous glucose monitor, but she went a step further, and she started using an insulin pump.
Oh, wow. So she had like a double dose of technology at her fingertips. How do those devices work together to help manage her diabetes?
It's actually quite ingenious. The CGM continuously tracks her blood sugar levels and sends that data to her insulin pump. The pump then automatically adjusts her insulin dosage based on her needs, which helps to keep her blood sugar in a healthy range.
So basically, it takes a lot of the guesswork and manual effort out of managing diabetes. That sounds incredibly convenient and effective. Did using these technologies have a noticeable impact on Lisa's life?
It was truly transformative for her. Lisa told us she felt more in control of her diabetes than ever before. She no longer had to constantly worry about checking her blood sugar or calculating insulin doses. This newfound freedom allowed her to, focus more on enjoying life, her career, her hobbies, and spending time with loved ones.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It sounds like technology gave her back a sense of normalcy and control over her health. It's almost like having a personal assistant for your diabetes.
you could say that. Now, ready for a story about finding joy in movement? Let's talk about Emily.
I'm all for that. Exercise shouldn't feel like a chore. So what kind of activities did Emily find that worked for her?
Well, Emily had always struggled with these traditional forms of exercise, the gym, running, things like that. She found them, boring and demotivating. But everything changed when she discovered dance.
Dance. That's such a fun and creative way to move your body. What kind of dance did you get into?
She fell in love with Zumba. It was a perfect fit for her. High energy, engaging, and it didn't feel like a workout at all.
Oh, I can see the appeal. Sometimes you just need to find an activity that sparks joy and makes you want to move. But how did dancing affect her diabetes management?
Well, the regular physical activity from Zumba helped Emily improve her insulin sensitivity, which means her body became better at using insulin to regulate her blood sugar levels. This led to some pretty significant improvements in her blood sugar control.
That's incredible. It's a great example of how finding an activity you genuinely enjoy is key to making exercise a sustainable part of your life. You don't have to force yourself to do something you hate just because you think you should.
Exactly. And you don't have to train for a marathon either. Even moderate intensity activities like dancing can make a huge difference.
That's encouraging to hear. It seems like a lot of these success stories hinge on finding what works for you individually and not trying to fit into some, predetermined mold.
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to Michael, whose story reminds us of the importance of community and connection. After his diagnosis, he was struggling with feelings of isolation. He didn't know anyone else who was going through the same thing.
Yeah, that feeling of isolation can be so overwhelming, especially when you're first diagnosed and trying to figure everything out. So how did Michael overcome that hurdle?
He decided to join a local diabetes support group. It was a game changer for him.
I can imagine. It's so important to have a safe space where you can talk openly about your experiences and get support from people who truly understand.
And it was more than just emotional support, though. The group also became a valuable source of information and practical tips for Michael. He learned about new diabetes management strategies, healthy recipes, and local resources that he wasn't even aware of before.
That's fantastic. It sounds like the support group really empowered him to take control of his health and feel less alone in his journey.
Exactly. With the knowledge, support, and motivation he gained from the group, Michael was able to make significant strides in managing his diabetes. He improved his blood sugar control, lost weight, and felt more confident in navigating the challenges of living with this condition.
What an inspiring story. It's a powerful reminder that we don't have to go through this journey alone. There's a whole community out there ready to embrace and support us.
That's what's so incredible about these success stories. We're seeing these common threads woven through each one: resilience, determination, and the importance of community and support.
And these aren't like overnight successes either. They've faced setbacks, made adjustments, and kept pushing forward, which I think is incredibly inspiring.
It's about finding what works for you, being patient with yourself, and celebrating every victory along the way. There's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to managing diabetes.
These stories make that abundantly clear. So, as we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, what's something you want our listeners to reflect on before we move into the final part?
I want you to think about which of these stories resonate with you most. What aspects of their journeys could you see yourself implementing in your own life?
That's a great question to ponder. We'll be back in part 3 with even more inspiring stories and actionable advice, so stay tuned. Welcome back, deep divers. We're diving into the final part of our exploration of inspiring diabetes success stories.
And we've saved some truly remarkable journeys for last. Get ready to be amazed by the resilience and creativity of these individuals.
I'm ready. Who are we hearing from first in this final part?
Let's start with Sophia. Her story really beautifully illustrates the transformative power of mindset.
I've heard a lot about the importance of mindset when it comes to health, but I'm always curious to hear how people actually put it into practice. What was Sophia's approach?
Well, Sophia had a history of, negative self-talk
Ugh.
and often felt overwhelmed by her diabetes.
Mm.
And she realized that this negativity was holding her back from making progress.
It's so easy to get caught in those negative thought patterns. How did she shift her perspective?
She began practicing gratitude. Each day, she would write down 3 things she was grateful for, no matter how small.
No.
It could be anything from a beautiful sunset to a delicious meal to a kind gesture from a stranger.
That's a wonderful practice for anyone, whether they have diabetes or not. It helps you just focus on the good things in life, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And she didn't stop there. Sophia
Yeah.
surrounded herself with supportive people who encouraged and uplifted her. She also made a conscious effort to focus on her strengths and accomplishments rather than dwelling on her, shortcomings.
It sounds like she created this whole ecosystem of positivity. Did that mindset shift have a noticeable impact on her diabetes management?
Absolutely. With a more positive outlook, Sophia felt more empowered to take control of her health. She started making healthier choices, became more consistent with her exercise routine, and felt less stressed overall.
It's a reminder that our thoughts have such a powerful impact on our physical and emotional well-being. If we can shift our mindset to a more positive place, it can make a huge difference in how we manage our health.
Yeah, Sophia's living proof of that. Now let's hear about James, whose journey highlights the importance of finding purpose and passion.
I love that idea. So often when we think about managing a chronic condition, it feels like it's all about the restrictions and limitations.
Mm.
But James's story seems to kind of flip that script on its head. What was his experience?
Well, after his diagnosis, James felt this renewed sense of urgency to make the most of his life. He decided to pursue his lifelong dream of becoming a chef.
Wow, that's pretty bold. How did his culinary aspirations tie into his diabetes management?
Well, he enrolled in culinary school and fully immersed himself in the world of food. He learned about nutrition, healthy cooking techniques, and how to create delicious meals that were also diabetes friendly.
That's brilliant. It's like he took his passion and used it as fuel to take care of his health.
Exactly, and it paid off. James not only excelled in culinary school, but he also saw significant improvements in his blood sugar control. He was able to create incredible dishes that nourished his body and satisfied his taste buds.
It's such an inspiring example of how we can find purpose and joy in the midst of challenges. Managing diabetes doesn't have to mean sacrificing our dreams or passions. It's about finding creative ways to integrate them into our lives.
Couldn't agree more. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's hear about Olivia, whose story really emphasizes the often overlooked aspects of self-care and stress management.
Oh, it's so easy to neglect those things, especially when we're busy and feeling overwhelmed. I know I'm guilty of it. What did Olivia do to prioritize self-care?
Well, Olivia realized that she had been putting her own needs on the back burner while trying to juggle work, family, and diabetes management. She decided to make self-care a non-negotiable part of her routine.
That's a big step. What were some of the specific practices that she incorporated into her life?
She started small, setting aside time each day for things that brought her joy and relaxation, like reading, taking bubble baths, and spending time in nature. She also discovered the benefits of meditation and deep breathing exercises for managing that stress, specifically related to her diabetes.
Oh, I can see how those techniques would be so helpful for calming the mind and reducing anxiety. Did she notice a difference in her blood sugar levels after implementing these practices?
Absolutely. Stress can have a huge impact on blood sugar levels, so finding those healthy ways to manage stress is crucial for anyone with diabetes. Olivia found that incorporating those relaxation techniques into her daily routine made a significant difference in her overall well-being, both mentally and physically.
It's a great reminder that self-care isn't selfish. It's an essential part of managing any chronic condition. If we're not taking care of ourselves, it's much harder to take care of anything else in our lives.
Couldn't agree more. Now, for our final diabetes champion, we have Noah, whose story is all about advocacy and community engagement.
That's a powerful way to kind of turn your personal experience into something positive that can benefit others. What inspired Noah to become an advocate?
Well, after his diagnosis, Noah was struck by the lack of awareness and support for people living with diabetes in his community. He decided to do something about it.
That's amazing. What did he actually do to raise awareness and support others?
Well, he started by sharing his own story and experiences on social media. He connected with other individuals with diabetes online, creating a supportive virtual community. He also organized local events and workshops to educate and empower people in his area.
It sounds like he created this ripple effect of positive change in his community. Did his advocacy work have a tangible impact?
It certainly did. Through his efforts, Noah raised awareness about diabetes, helped reduce stigma, and connected people with valuable resources and support systems. He demonstrated that one person can truly make a difference.
What an inspiring collection of stories we've heard today. Each one is so unique, but they all share that common thread of resilience, determination, and the unwavering human spirit. They've shown us that while diabetes presents challenges, it doesn't have to define us.
They've also shown us that we have the power to take control of our health, live fulfilling lives, and inspire others along the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into diabetes success stories, we want to leave you with a final thought. What will your diabetes success story be?
What small step can you take today to move closer to your goals? Remember, every journey starts with a single step. And with support, determination, and a positive mindset, you can achieve amazing things.
Thank you for joining us on this inspiring exploration. We hope these stories have ignited a spark of hope and empowered you to embrace your own journey with diabetes.
Until next time, deep divers, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thriving.